Caracas is tense. The city's heartbeat is quickened by uncertainty, its streets lined with anxious faces and the ever-present shadow of armed patrols. Every corner seems to echo with the anticipation of something bigger looming on the horizon. Russian Sukhoi jets roar overhead, slicing through the clouds and sending a message from Moscow to Washington. Their presence is more than a show of force. It's a declaration that the balance of power is shifting, and the world is watching. U.S. Navy destroyers prowl the Caribbean, their radars fixed on Venezuela, not just for counter-narcotics but to project American power. The sea, once a symbol of distance, now feels like a narrow corridor where superpowers test each other's resolve. This is the new front line in a global power struggle. Here, military might and diplomatic maneuvering collide, and every movement is a signal to rivals and allies alike. The Caribbean joins the South China Sea and Eastern Europe as a flashpoint. These regions, scattered across the globe, are now interconnected by the ambitions of great powers and the vulnerabilities of smaller nations caught in between. Venezuela, rich in oil but crippled by crisis, is now the stage for a high-stakes drama. Its resources are coveted, its people caught in the crossfire of economic collapse and international intrigue. The US and Russia, old rivals, are testing each other's limits in America's backyard. Decades of rivalry have led to this moment, where every gesture is loaded with history and risk. From above, you'd see American warships and Russian bombers in a tense standoff. Invisible lines are drawn in the sky and sea, each side daring the other to cross. This isn't fiction, it's September 2025. The headlines are real, and the consequences are unfolding in real time. Every move is calculated, every word scrutinized. Behind closed doors, leaders weigh options, knowing that a single miscalculation could tip the balance. One misstep could ignite a conflict with global consequences. The world's attention is fixed on this region, aware that the stakes have never been higher. The stakes, the fate of millions, and the rules of 21st century power. Ordinary lives hang in the balance as superpowers maneuver for advantage. Will the US push back harder? Will Russia double down? The world's leaders face choices that could echo for generations. We stand at a crossroads, one path to fragile peace, the other to confrontation. The decisions made in the coming days will shape the world's future. The choices made now will define the future, not just for Venezuela, but for the world. The hopes of a generation rest on the outcome of this standoff. The world is less safe than it was just a few years ago. Uncertainty has become the new normal, and the shadow of conflict stretches across continents. The question, what happens next? The answer will be written by the actions of nations and the courage of individuals. The world holds its breath, every second feels heavy, as if history itself is pausing to see which way the scales will tip. The pieces are in place, strategies are set, and the next move could determine the fate of nations. The next move could change everything. The front line is set. The world waits for what comes next. Russia and Venezuela's alliance didn't happen overnight. It's been built over more than 2 decades, forged in oil, shared interests, and a mutual opposition to the United States. This partnership is the result of careful strategy, not just convenience, and it has reshaped the balance of power in the Western Hemisphere. It all began with Hugo Chavez, Venezuela's charismatic and controversial leader, who saw Russia as a powerful counterweight to American influence in Latin America. He reached out to Moscow, seeking allies who would respect Venezuela's sovereignty and help it resist US pressure. Moscow, eager to expand its global reach, seized the chance for a foothold in America's backyard. For Russia, Venezuela offered not just resources but a strategic opportunity to challenge US dominance close to home. Oil is the glue that binds them together. Venezuela boasts the world's largest proven oil reserves, but years of mismanagement and sanctions have left its industry in ruins. The country desperately needed investment, expertise, and buyers for its crude. Russian energy giants like Rosneft stepped in, trading much-needed loans and technical support for oil shipments. In return, they gained significant leverage over Venezuela's future, embedding themselves deep within the country's most vital industry. Military ties deepened as well. Russia became Venezuela's top arms supplier, sending advanced fighter jets, helicopters, and military advisors. Joint exercises and arms deals cemented a new level of trust and cooperation. This isn't just business, it's a strategic partnership with global implications. Both countries see each other as essential allies in a world where old alliances are shifting. Venezuela gets more than just weapons. It receives political cover at the United Nations, economic support to keep its government afloat, and military hardware to deter internal and external threats. Russia, in turn, gets a platform to challenge U.S. dominance, a bargaining chip in global negotiations, and a showcase for its ability to project power far from its borders. For Nicolas Maduro, Russia is a lifeline, providing the support he needs to withstand international isolation and domestic unrest. For Vladimir Putin, Venezuela is proof that Russia remains a global player, capable of shaping events even in the U.S.'s traditional sphere of influence. This alliance lets Maduro cling to power, and lets Russia show it has friends and influence in America's backyard, defying Washington's attempts at isolation. It's asymmetric diplomacy at its sharpest. A game of chess where every move is calculated to maximize leverage and minimize risk. Both regimes get what they need: survival, influence, and the ability to challenge their rivals on the world stage. The partnership is here to stay, a testament to how shared interests and common adversaries can forge alliances that reshape the global order. U.S. sanctions were designed to cripple Maduro's regime, targeting its finances and oil exports in hopes of forcing political change. The strategy was clear: apply enough economic pressure and the government would have no choice but to yield. But instead of isolating Venezuela, these measures pushed Caracas deeper into Moscow's embrace, forging new alliances in the face of adversity. As Western banks and companies withdrew, Russian banks and oil traders quickly filled the void, eager to expand their influence and profit from Venezuela's isolation. Russia became Venezuela's economic lifeline, providing loans, technical support, and a way to bypass sanctions. This partnership allowed Venezuela to keep its oil flowing and its government afloat. The more Washington tightened its grip, the more Caracas turned to Moscow for survival, deepening their economic and political ties. This cycle only strengthened the alliance the U.S. had hoped to break, making Venezuela more dependent on Russia than ever before. For Russia, it was a golden opportunity to defy the U.S., expand its global reach, and gain a strategic foothold in the Americas. For Venezuela, the partnership with Russia became a matter of survival, as the country struggled to provide even basic necessities for its people. The human cost has been devastating: hyperinflation, food and medicine shortages, and a deepening humanitarian crisis that touches every household. Millions have fled the country, risking everything to escape the chaos, caught between the rivalry of superpowers and the collapse of their homeland. The U.S. blames Maduro's corruption for the crisis, while Maduro points to U.S. sanctions as the root of Venezuela's suffering. For ordinary Venezuelans, the cause matters less than the daily struggle to find food, water, and hope for a better future. Sanctions meant to weaken Maduro have instead locked Venezuela and Russia together, creating a partnership that is difficult to break. The unintended consequence: a stronger, more desperate alliance, with both nations now more reliant on each other than ever before. In the end, it's the Venezuelan people who pay the highest price, enduring hardship as global powers play their game. Russia's military support for Venezuela is now unmistakable. Russian bombers land at Venezuelan air bases conducting joint exercises. Russian warships join Venezuelan naval drills in the Caribbean. Special Forces advisors share expertise on the ground. This is more than arms sales, it's operational partnership. The most alarming rumor: a permanent Russian base in Venezuela. Both governments deny it, but the logic is clear. For Russia, a base near the U.S. is a strategic prize. For Maduro, it's insurance against U.S. intervention. The mere possibility has set off alarm bells in Washington. The whispers have turned a regional crisis into a global one. The U.S. has answered Russia's moves with its own show of force. Warships and surveillance planes now patrol near Venezuela. Officially, it's about fighting drug trafficking. Unofficially, it's about keeping pressure on Maduro and warning Moscow. U.S. forces intercept narco subs and fast boats, but every action is watched by Russia and Venezuela. The military posture is deliberately ambiguous. Is this about drugs or regime change? The buildup reassures U.S. allies and sends a message to Russia. America won't cede its backyard. It's classic gunboat diplomacy. For Maduro, the message is clear. Russia may be a friend, but the U.S. is the neighbor. The horizon is crowded with warships and uncertainty. The standoff is real. The stakes are rising. As tensions rise, diplomacy has vanished. Washington calls Maduro a dictator, Moscow accuses the US of plotting a coup, the US president keeps all options on the table, a thinly veiled threat. Maduro denounces US sanctions as economic warfare, thanks Russia for support, and rallies his base. Russia frames itself as a defender of international law, condemning US gunboat diplomacy. The war of words hardens positions and closes doors. There are no back-channel talks, no summits, no compromise. Each side clings to its narrative, refusing to budge. This breakdown makes miscalculation more likely. Soldiers and sailors are left to navigate the tension. The silence is dangerous. When leaders stop talking, the risk of conflict grows. The world watches, anxious about what comes next. 4 scenarios loom. First, direct military conflict, an accident or provocation could spiral into US-Russia war. Second, escalation elsewhere. Russia could retaliate in Syria, Africa, or cyberspace, turning Venezuela into a global chess match. Third, a worsening refugee crisis. More conflict means millions more fleeing overwhelming neighbors and destabilizing the region. Fourth, a new Cold War. Venezuela becomes the dividing line between US-led and Russia/China-led blocs. International cooperation would collapse, replaced by suspicion and rivalry. The world would be more dangerous, less stable. Each scenario carries devastating consequences. The cost would be paid by ordinary people, not just politicians. The choices made now will echo for decades. The stakes are global, the world is on edge, the future is uncertain, the time to act is now. Behind the headlines, Venezuelans endure daily hardship, hunger, blackouts, and fear. The political standoff has paralyzed the country. Foreign troops and the threat of war only deepen the crisis. Over 7 million have fled, seeking safety and hope. Neighboring countries are overwhelmed, and escalation would unleash even more suffering. The true cost is measured in broken families and lost futures. Leaders in Washington, Moscow, and Caracas hold millions of lives in their hands. Any solution must put the Venezuelan people first. Their well-being can't be an afterthought. We stand at the edge of disaster. More sanctions, more warships, more threats. This is a dead end. A US-Russia conflict would have global consequences. The only way out is real diplomacy. That means ending the war of words and starting serious talks. The US must rethink sanctions. Russia must see its military presence as destabilizing. Maduro must accept he can't survive as a pariah. Steps forward: freeze military escalation, open direct military communication, and revive negotiations for free elections. Security guarantees for all sides are essential. The hour is late, but not too late. Leaders face a choice: confrontation or diplomacy. The world is watching. The last exit from this crisis is diplomacy. It's time to take it.